whether they are science or religion-based, are nonetheless tethered to fear. They block the emanations of the higher frequencies that the human instrument was designed to function on. This is precisely why the individual is sovereign, and why it is so critical that they activate themselves and live a love-centered life, because it is only then that a sufficient number of humans can start the chain reaction of consciousness, the consciousness of eternity. The material forces will respond to this frequency and become the actualizing force of eternity upon the terrestrial plane. In Lyricus, we say it this way: the master of matter will become the slave of eternity. I realize that I've moved off on some very wide-ranging concepts, but your answer is in this nest of concepts. You'll just have to sort it out a bit.
Thanks, James. Yeah, I'm sure I'll be doing that. While I've been listening, I find that much of what you've said, I have a feeling that I'm going to have to listen a few more times before I'm able to really make sense of it.
You may be right, but don't worry so much about making sense of it. This is as much a psychological process as it is a comprehension. It is a process of identity shift, so each individual can shift from the currents of fear and guilt to the currents of love and understanding, because only in the currents of love do you realize that you are not the form you animate, but rather the energetic frequencies of the animation itself. And these frequencies, where do you suppose they derive from?
I guess I would say for source.
Yes, from our Creator. And these frequencies, they dance in the moment. They do not know the past or future. They live in the now. So thoughts and feelings that search into the past or future, they can restrict the circulation of these delicate frequencies. And it is these frequencies, like the Pied Piper, lead you to the point, the very moment, where you are open to transformation. Now we have a saying that goes like this: if you are peeling an orange, do not be thinking about an apple. In other words, stay in the moment, because this is where the frequencies of animation occur. This is where your power lies.
Okay, that makes sense. Thanks, James. I appreciate that. Mateo, shoot. For those of you listening to this, our cat Mateo just jumped up on the table and is visiting James. He seems to like you.
There is no reason he shouldn't. What kind of cat is he?
He's a ragdoll, the kind that go limp when you pick them up. Hence the name.
He's very relaxed, very soothing.
Yeah, I don't know if the mics are picking it up, but I can sure hear him purring from even where I'm sitting. Do you want me to take him, James?
No, he's fine. If he wants to lay on the table right here.
Decency.
Well, if nothing else, he's a very good diversion. You see, this is the way a spirit works, and is a good example of the fine-grained details of life. We're in this certain frequency for 30, 40 minutes, and Mateo is just fine, and suddenly he jumps up on the table and asserts himself. Well, to me, it's spirit's nudge to ease off the gas pedal a bit, return to the playful side of life. It's all a rhythm, you see.
Yeah. I follow you. James, do you still want to take a break?
Yes, let's do that. We can stretch our bodies and refresh ourselves. I know you wanted to show me some things, so let's do that now, and we can resume our talk in 15, 20 minutes.
Yep.
Okay?
Signing off for now. Interview session number 2 with James. April 5th, 2008. Copyright 2008. Wingmakers. All rights reserved. We're back for the second part of the interview. I'm Mark Hempel, and I'm sitting here with James, the once anonymous creator of the Wingmakers, Lyricus, and Event Temple's websites. I say once because I guess you're still anonymous, but now that you're sitting here with me, it seems less so, assuming that we share these interviews with the public. If you're listening to this and you haven't heard part one, which we recorded just a little earlier, you might want to start with that part first because it puts these interviews in context, and I guess in the interest of not wanting to repeat myself, I'm not going to do that here. So partly in the interest of time and partly because I don't know if I do as good a job since I don't have my notes in front of me here. I've switched. So anyway, I'll skip the background information and get right to the questions, if that's okay with you, James.
Yes, no, that's fine.
One of the things I'm curious about, and I suspect our listeners are as well, is to know more about the world religions and how they relate to Wingmakers, if they do at all.
Anytime we speak about world religions, I'm not sure how to respond because I don't want to insult anyone, nor do I wish to make comparisons that are subjectively unfair, which leaves little room for statements of any kind. All I will say is that people can find their higher selves and activate their higher connections to Spirit and God through most of the religious and spiritual movements on earth. There is no monopoly on the access points to Spirit. And to the degree they don't feel, meaning the people, they don't feel this higher connection is emerging from their study, then they're probably better served to try something new, trusting that their higher self will guide them to that which resonates with their innate feeling of the truth. If you go to an orchestral performance, at the beginning the musicians are tuning their instruments, trying to find harmony. In a similar way, we are made by the same creator, but our instruments are in different tuning codes, and we're trying to find the point of harmonization. We're all tuned differently through our experience, genetic predispositions, education, and yes, I suppose religion and cultural conditioning play a decisive role as well. World religions compete more than they seek to harmonize, and as I've said before, the key is activation of the connection between the ego personality, the higher self, and the animating spirit that flows between them. Once this activation occurs, what religion you are is quite academic, much the same way it doesn't matter what your citizenship is when you visit outer space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. Interesting analogy. The question I see in the subtext of the email linked to religion is the confusion that all of these different spiritual paths have on the individual as they try to, figure out which one is best for them.
Yes, I understand, but seekers are yet looking outside themselves. They seek what they sense they lack within, in part because religion and culture tell them that they lack this ability and require intermediaries like priests and ministers, rabbis, or spiritual teachers to find their way. The pathways of spirit only appear confusing from the inside looking out,